When I came home from uni, I was really disappointed about how it ended. It ended so abruptly that I started to question whether I'd got my calling right and whether I was supposed to go into youth ministry or not. And when I came home, I went into a retail job that I hated, and I wasn't going to church, not because of a lack of faith, but because I didn't have the passion and I didn't get settled into a church while I was at uni. I spent 6 months doing nothing and then getting angry that nothing was happening. I believed that because I'd failed uni, that maybe God had abandoned me, and that was my last chance, that I was stripped of my calling because I didn't complete uni. And I spent this time really becoming bitter about this whole situation. And then about 6 months after I left, I met up with a mentor of mine, and I explained this whole situation to him, and he could see how angry I was getting that God was seemingly doing nothing. And all he said to me was, "Well, what are you doing?" And it made me realise that I was doing nothing and expecting something to happen. I was standing still and expecting God to move me. I'd got so caught up with an open door, or trying to find that open door, that I forgot that even an unlocked door has a handle. So this guy, he challenged me. He said, do something. Spend time doing something. Get into a church. Commit to a church and commit to helping out with the youth work. So I did. I started making a point of doing things, of helping out with youth, going to church every Sunday. And I suddenly started to see the blessings that God was pouring out on my life, and I was starting to step in to the ministry that he's called me to. And I wouldn't have seen those if I hadn't have made that step. You see, the paralyzed man in the Bible that Jesus healed, would he have ever known that he'd been healed if he didn't listen to Jesus' call to stand up and walk? If he had been so bitter in that moment about the situation that he'd been in previously, that he said, no, I'm not doing anything, he wouldn't have realised that Jesus had healed him. Now, I was going to call this video God Blesses Action, but actually I've changed my mind, because I think it's not that God blesses action, it's that when we start to do and when we start to step into what God has called for us, we'll start to see the blessings that he's laid out before us. So that is something that I've really tried to keep a hold of in my life, that sometimes it seems like nothing is happening, and actually to look at myself and, well, what am I doing about it? God wants us to do something. God wants us to step into the blessings that he's put on our lives.